Well, once again, it's time, my friends, for another meet and greet. We're Southern Fried and nationwide, so hang on to your seat. Look around, here's what I found. I guess you'll never know what you'll see on the Southern Fried Podcast Show. Yeehaw!
Hey folks, Dave in the AM here with the Southern Fried Podcast and the Cornbread Nation. For many weeks now, me and Rob have been telling you about our affiliation with Dubby Energy Drinks. I've been drinking some of them on the show, and I just got in today the powder version, and this is the Pond Blom version of this. And hey, I tell you that it gives you the focus and the energy without the jitters or the crash. There's no sugars, no fillers, no artificial dyes. So get you some Dubby today. Use the promo code Southern Fried, and you'll get 10% off each and every order. Not only can you get the energy drinks, but you can also get some cool merch items. In fact, soon we're going to have a hat to show you as an example of some of those things. There's shirts and other things you can get as well as containers to mix up the powder and the water into that you can carry with you. We appreciate your support of the Southern Fried Podcast and also of Dubby Energy Drinks. We'll see you again soon. Take care. And hello. It is good to be here on a Saturday with you, Dave in the AM, Southern Fried MAGA. Sorry for a little bit of delayed start there. Was getting a few things ready, and hey, I hit the wrong button, so I had to have a little bit more time there to get her taken care of. I hope you enjoyed last night's show, the Friday night front porch. On the front porch, we had a good time talking about all things Star Wars and redneck Star Wars. And we're going to be doing that again. Had some guests that came up with us, and we enjoyed them very much. They were a great addition, and they'll be back, as well as some others who didn't have a chance to come up on stage. They were at home. We'll have them up as well. And Friday nights lends to that type of program anyway, to do those things. So anyway, we didn't get to we still have one Cornbread Nation show that we've got to make up, and we're going to do our best to get that this week. We have we've had all sorts of things attacking us, I guess you would say, from health and other things, technology. But I said we must be doing something right because we are under attack. So it's good to be here. God bless all of you. Hope you're having a fine Saturday. The weather is beautiful, a little brisk and cold. We've had cold temperatures, and it's warming up a little bit. It'll still be rather cold, but the sunlight makes it feel warmer. It's nice and toasty in the studio, our new studio. We're still fixing a couple of things. We've still got some painting to do in here, and but the studio is virtually done with the technology and everything, and we're looking forward to that. We do have to build our puppet stage. We're going to be doing that for our Cornbread Nation show, and you'll see you've seen some puppets on here. We have another puppet which is going to be coming up called JJ, Jeb Jr. We already have Uncle Jeb and George Bubba, and possibly we'll have one or two more. Oh, and let me not forget Jack, which is a feature now. Jack the Democrats, having some fun, and we've got a lot of things in motion. Our new show, Southern Fried Racing Hour, with Dean Potts, my co-host for that, and we've had one show, and I felt like we were just slinging ourselves at it, and he loved it, thought it went great, and it did go well. But I thought we can do so much more. It was a tough week, but we didn't want to delay the start anymore because we had promised we were going to do that. But I felt like we weren't prepared just because of technological issues and stuff. But sometimes you just have to do that. The show has to go on. And we produce a lot of shows here at the Southern Fried Podcast. We love it. We're not complaining. It's just that when you have a hiccup, it really the schedule doesn't change. We try not to cancel any not we might delay a show, but we don't cancel it. Like if we miss a show, we make it up. Now there has been times we haven't. Just it just didn't happen. But if we got it on the schedule, and I'm going to make a new schedule page too that I need to put out on the streams. But basically, we're on every day with some kind of a show, if not two times a day, sometimes three. Mondays is two shows for sure, but I usually add in a show. Tuesdays is usually two shows, but they're shows that I do. Wednesday we're back with two more shows. Thursday is usually two shows now, sometimes three. Friday is two shows. Saturday is two shows, and Sunday is two shows. That's not counting all of the shorts that we produce and promos, MAGA Minutes, Devotion of the Day. Got a bunch of those loaded up today. It's been a tough week. So you put it all together, we're somewhere around 25, sometimes 30 shows a week. So, and sometimes more. But for sure, it's over 20, if not closer to 30 shows a week. And we love that. So we have our morning show, which is on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays for sure, 6 to 7 a.m. I have been trying to produce Tuesday and Thursday solo. We call it something a little different. It's not Southern. It's not the SFP morning show because that's me and Rob. So I'm trying to do Tuesday and Thursday morning shows. I think next week we'll be back on track, and I can do that. Then Monday night is Mama Said feature program, one of our oldest programs, and it is we talk about all things Mama Said, funny, serious, whatever. We have guests, but it's a feature show. It's not always about comments that Mama said. It actually is really about two shows. Good morning, Killer Carl. How are you? I was thinking about you last night because I was thinking of all the people we know in Rumble, and we've had more people coming in, and we was doing a little fun show last night talking about Star Wars, and I was thinking about you. I said, I bet he's a Star Wars fan. He's probably. I hope your show is doing well. Do you have a show today, Killer Carl? I'm going to be doing some my job, which is the job I do on Saturday. It's different my job Monday through Friday. I can listen to stuff, and I'm going to catch up with. Of course, yeah, that's what we do, right? What time? What is it live? Is it live show? And tell me what time, because I'm at work till midnight, brother, and I want to catch your show today. I'm going to listen. I'm trying to catch up. I've got to catch up on Half Pine Forge, some of his blacksmithing shows. But today I'm going to be loading up programs of ours and listening to you guys. So what time did you go live? 7:30 or so? It's absolutely up. 7:30. Oh, that's fine. Like I said, I'm going to be up, brother, and I want to listen. Any topic today? I know you guys are always talking about what's going on in the administration and politics, and we line up well. I mean, yeah. So I'll be listening though, and I appreciate you, man. I do. Um, I hope that continued success for you and your co-host. I think you'll have a couple of shows, and anything we can ever do to help. I mean, you're much bigger than we are, but anything we can ever do to help you guys, we do it, man. That's what it's all about. Uh, uh, it's podcasters who are uh, letting people know. I'd love to do it, brother. Do you go live every night, like Monday through? I mean, like on through the week, or are you on? Because like a Tuesday night would be great for me to do that. Since we don't. Yeah, that's right. That's right, brother. It is about the message. That's absolutely right. If you go live on Tuesday, I would love to. I would love to come in Tuesday through Saturday. I got you. Well, I'll tell you what. Tuesday's a good night because we don't. It's not conflicting usually with me and anything else. And I usually do a show, but I can move those however I need to move them. And I would love to. Let me put that up there for you. Killer Carl. Go watch Killer Carl, who kicks you off with some in your face, chest pumping music always. If I'm a little tired or whatever, when I put Killer Carl's the start of his show on, sometimes I'll have it on while I'm working or while I'm getting things done for our show. I get fired up. He's usually got Metallica or Megadeth or oh my goodness, Nazareth or not Nazareth. Who am I thinking of? It's a little bit of everybody. Okay, I sure will, brother. I'll email you. And I'd love to come up. I'd be honored to come up and talk all things MAGA and everything else. So that'd be a blessing. But yeah, how long have you been podcasting, brother? How long has your show been on? The coffee is good this morning. It's cold outside. I got the good Georgia cup. My son was just telling me, he said, that's a good looking coffee mug, Dad. I said it is. By the way, pray for me. I took a, it is. Don't get old. Don't get old. About a year. Awesome, man. You're killing it, man. We're about 8 months. Let's see. Coming up on 9 months. May will be a year for us. So it's just changed our whole lives. It's great. We love it. But yeah, don't get old. I took a tumble last night uh, after after our show last night, and I thought about killing myself. Oh, one leg didn't clear the pants leg as quick as it needed to, and next thing I know, I was picking myself up off the floor. My granddaughter was helping me, and I was just praying the whole time, "Don't be nothing broke. Please be nothing broke." Filling on the radio definitely helped my channel grow for John. Oh, absolutely, man. Hello, Jake. Absolutely, John Frederick's killer, and you've got a great following. And what it's all about is associations and knowing people and networking. And I appreciate the support you've given our show. We just started as a. I mean, I was in podcasting years ago, but it was more ministry, and I still do that, but got away from it. I did live radio on for a while. Did some things. I've always tinkered with it. I still got radio stations that are trying to get me to come back locally and stuff and pay for some time. Obviously, they're struggling, but they liked our show, and it was something we did for a long time. I got away from it for a while, did some other things, but I always had that itch to get back. Was never video though. It was always radio, audio, or even podcasting was audio, and I still do audio. I still do Podbean, do some audio that way. But I love format. I had to get used to it, but hence when we started, I waited for a few months before I really started buying anything. I just bought the necessary stuff because you know how it is. You start something and it really does. You have to have like-minded people. I think you've got a co-host too, and you have to have people that are committed to it. And I didn't think that Rob wasn't committed to it or myself, but I wanted to be sure of that. And Yeah, I know you know this. And Jake, you're committed to as well to doing things. What you do. Let me put him up there. Follow Jake Husden as well. He's on several streams. Awesome individual, friend of the program. But it's hard to find people that are willing to even be regular. Like it's hard. They might come and be a part of a show, but to have somebody commit to being a part of your crew, a co-host or a regular feature, that's hard because people got their own things. They might like it, but they dabble with it and they move on. But when you find somebody that are passionate about what you do and the amount of hours you put into it, you found something special. And me and Rob have had this thing years ago. We talked about this thing. We were talking about something totally different putting together and really talking about issues of the day and stuff. And it was more website. It wasn't. It was with maybe some audio. Like I said, life got in the way. I think he went through a divorce. There was just a lot of stuff that happened, and he come back around. That's my only regret. Is I wish I was a lot younger. Because I wish I'd have been doing this for a lot longer time. I I've been a political guy since I was honestly about 7 years old. Sitting at the feet of my dad watching the nightly news, the national Walter Cronkite news, Dan Rather, the whole group, and watching the Vietnam reports come in, watching the Watergate scandal, the resignation of Richard Nixon, which I watched that live. I remember him walking up the steps to the Marine One, I think it was, or Air Force One. I can't remember if we went off on the helicopter or the plane. I think it was helicopter, wasn't it? But anyway, still remember him give. I was watching that live, and I've always been political. I've always been interested into political, and so I've followed, and I followed President Ford's administration. Of course, Jimmy Carter from Georgia. And I was really excited about the 1980 election, which was won by Ronald Reagan. And that really set my course for as it did for a lot of people. I couldn't vote then, I wasn't old enough, but his second term I did vote for him, and I have voted ever since in every election that I could ever vote in. I have voted. I'm a firm believer in taking part in the political process. There's probably more I should have done, but as I've gotten older, I've really tried to get in there in different ways. And I love this platform. That's what we say on one of our ads is everybody has something to say. And there are people that want to hear what you have to say. Not everybody's going to like what you say, but there are people who will listen to what you say, and some will agree with you. And um, even those that don't like what you say, if they're willing to have discussion, that's a win. So, uh, everybody has haters. I don't care about that, but it doesn't matter to me. But thank you, brother. But we can all come together and talk about these issues. And this medium, this platform, which I'm so thankful for, and you're Rumble, and we're on Rumble right now, and one other, or two others. There's some of them they don't defend your rights to say what you want to say like they do. And so I have great respect for Rumble, and I have great respect for a couple others. There's some I do not, and they have hindered, they have hurt people I know. They've tried to cancel them out, and enough's enough. As President Biden said, I was speaking it for him. He said enough's enough, and I've said that ever since. But it is enough, and we need to let our voices be heard. We're doing that. The MAGA movement is far greater than even like people attribute it to Donald Trump. Surely they should, but it is so much bigger than that, and it will go forward. And it is shaping right before our very eyes the political landscape in America and really across the world. But it is certainly it is changing not only, and people think that's only people that are Democrats. No, it is reshaping the political landscape for Republicans and independents. It is in some ways, it's going to force some people out, which is a good thing, out of the Republican Party because they're not Republicans. and they're going to get voted out if they don't get on board with these things that the movement is about, which is transparency, constitutional, being standing on the Constitution and America first. And if those are just among the many, but those certainly are leading indicators of what it's about. And if they don't get on board with that, they're going to get left behind. The days, and of course, he just announced our not friend from Kentucky. He's going to not run the next time. Well, his health's not going to allow him. That old guard, needs to go, and they have not stood guard and protected. They're not the good guard. They've not stood guard over those values that we hold dear. They have allowed and really just had their hands in their own pockets. That's and others in their pockets. But we're seeing that for Rivera. So I say all that to say it is absolutely exciting to be a part of to be communicating with people all around the world. I know you, brother Killer Carr, you've got people that are probably coming in and watching you from all over the world, and there are like-minded people all around the world, and many of them wish they were in America and wish that they could vote, but they like what we got going now, and they're excited about it, and so that is spreading across the world. And what I love most about this is it's like we're at the city council meetings every day, because those same people, and we should go to those, absolutely, but people are hearing what the people have to say more and more, instead of a controlled release from what they call legacy media now. It is they're being destroyed because they're useless, and that narrative of that 3-point bulletin that they like to put out and say what the people have said, which was 99% of the time wasn't what the people felt. It was being controlled. Now that those voices are out there and they're being heard by people more and more, and what people are finding out is there's more and more people believe like they do. They're figuring out it's not just me. There's a lot of people out there that believe on the same important values that I have, and now they're networked together, and seemingly instantaneously through podcasting and these live streams. I mean, man, in moments you're online and you're covering a story. I mean, in many cases we beat the legacy media to it. And what's great about that is you have more eyes on it, more voices, more cameras, more people digging into paperwork and stories and getting the backstory, interviewing people, and it's holding them accountable more and more. And that's a good thing for all of America and for a lot of the world, actually. And it shows the rest of the world how important it is to have the voice of the people heard. And I'm excited to be a part of that. We get, we know our niche. We know where our foundation is, and we try to stay within that framework. But within doing that, we still impact people that are on the fringes of that, and sometimes even those that are far in the other camp. And occasionally we bring others along, and they get on the train, and we're excited about that. But anyway, that's a lot of me mumbling here, but I really mean that. And when we very first started the podcast, if you were to go back and listen, we were careful in the beginning, not because we didn't have something we wanted to say, and not because we were afraid to say anything, but we were trying to just create a certain kind of program that was fun, informative, and fun, and all that. But with everything that was going on, and we're so passionate about it, we weren't doing any much politics. We were brushing against it. We were saying important stuff, but then we'd move on to something else. And one of our friends we've known for decades come in the chat one day, and he said something, and he said, I know y'all are trying to keep from being too controversial. And I said, yeah, but we're willing to talk about it, brother. Bring it on. And after that show that day, I did some thinking about it, and I didn't really know how Robert, because you have a co-host, you're not trying to rock the boat, and I thought on it for probably about a full day, And it seemed to me that it was something that we had to change because people wanted to know our opinion. And more they were asking us what we believed. And I told Robert, I said, we have to cover this. It might be one program a week, which really became the Southern Fried News, the news desk, which is still there on Sunday nights. I said, if you don't want to be a part, I totally get it because you're doing a lot of shows now. You've got some things going on. But the first show he actually came into, and Southern Fried News Desk became that platform that we did that on. And within really just a handful of weeks, it wasn't long, we started really jumping on with other programming, hence the Southern Fried MAGA and some other things that we do. And we began to talk about it a lot more in our morning shows or evening shows. And now it's just who we are. So we weren't hiding anything. We were just trying to create different kinds of programming, and we still do that. We have the funny to the serious. So we're not just one thing, but we are a lot of that, and we certainly put ourselves out for that. And we've decided, we've had things come our way that we wanted to cover that were controversial stories or that we wanted to lend a hand to, such as the supposed monkey farm down in South Georgia, which we have covered that several times and continue to do. In fact, I've got a new graphic that I'm going to get up this week, and we're going to circle back and hook up with our friends. There's still lawsuits going on down there, but we're still trying. And when I went to South Georgia, we covered the story on the ground. So we're very involved that way, and it's fun. It's really, really fun. But yeah, I've listened to a lot of podcasters when I wasn't podcasting. Anybody from Dan Bongino, you mentioned John Fredericks, Mike Lindell, many others. And I still listen to those when I can. And I've got a guy that I listen to on Podbean, actually a couple, and there's several on Rumble and in different places. And sometimes I just, I go over and listen to Spaces and listen to some other folks. But I see what's out there. I like to go around and see what's on live and go in and jump in and be a part and see see what's going on with in the news and see what their spin is on it and see what I can learn. I'm always trying to learn from others, and I appreciate, like I said, your show, and you just you bring it, man, and I love that. And Jake, your show and what you do, and what you put out there, with music and different things. Thank you. And over this weekend, brother, I've actually was over there looking at it. I'm trying to hook up a couple things you're helping us with and give me some advice on. So we'll get that done as well. And appreciate the like there on Facebook. And we've got some fun things going on. So this is a great time to be doing what we do, and it's just going to continue to grow. And this is going to be a fun ride. It really, really is. So but yeah, great job, and continue success, and I hope that you have a wonderful uh, I hope you have a wonderful day, and we will definitely I'll be listening tonight, and you know uh, would be honored to come on any Tuesday coming up that and I'll email you. Spartan, yeah, I'm not surprised. He's not very knowledgeable about the Bible. To be honest, that's not a shock to me. Uh, and you're right. And he's not he has a lot of people that around him that he has trusted to counsel with him in those areas. I would hope that he would learn more about it, certainly. But I'll be honest with you. If you went into a lot of churches in America, uh, well, yeah, well, certainly, and that is. I just actually preached on that this week. This past week, I was touching on that and truth. But if you went to a lot of churches and you asked some, not all, some people that same question, you might get a little blank stare. There's a lot of people that don't read it as they should and don't follow it. Certainly, but even if they go to church, they just listen. They don't do personal study. Now, you'll find those that know it cover to cover and inside and out. They're always learning and studying. But that's with anything, I guess. But yeah, you're right. I'm not. I think I heard that too, and but I don't doubt it, even if I didn't, because he was not in that world, and I think with everything that's happened in his life, especially attempt on his life, he is drawing closer that way. Now, what I will say is, to be fair, he has some good counsel around him. I see them, and I know they're fruits, as you say there. Absolutely, but there's one or two there that I'm a little bit. I don't know. I would just say that I pray for him. Our church prays for him, and that I hope that he prays and meditates over that counsel, because counsel is good. It's good to have good counselors around you, but you've got to take it to the great counsel, the greatest, and get your answer, your final answer there, and feel good about it in your gut. Yeah, and no matter who the president is, no matter who the president is, I will say this. Now, I had no use for uh, President Biden whatsoever, but any president, I will say this: their information flow that they're getting every day. Now, for him, maybe not. Biden, who knows what he was getting? But if presidents get a lot of information sent to them every day, starting the day with those briefings, and some of that stuff would be hard to listen to day after day. And these that I'm talking about would be threats on the safety and security of the United States of America and its allies. The credible threats that they hear every day from rogue nations or other groups who want to hurt our service people, our Navy, do bad things to America and Americans. It has to weigh on you. And then how do you decide who to strike? Because there are times that you must do that. You must do the strike. But to what level? And so all that falls on your shoulders. You're listening to the Joint Chiefs of Staff. You've got your counselors. You've got a lot of people in the room, the national security folks, all that stuff. But at the end of the day, you have to answer the question of when and how much. And I would hope that any president is praying and seeking higher counsel about that, when to know in their gut that we got to do this, or not to do it. So I do get that. My favorite part is Ecclesiastes 3:1 is a great poem, even for a person that's not religious. Okay, yeah, and well, you know what? Even for people that are not, um, people that are not in the Bible, um, people that are not in the Bible can still find inspiration. What I mean by that they're not a follower, a student of the Bible, they're not a follower of Jesus Christ. They can still find help, because the Word is a help. And even if they never become a believer, there are great words of wisdom there and counsel, and they're living. It's a living Word. It will help you. So absolutely. Uh, it is pathetic if you can't name a single line. I agree. So I understand that, and there are people who have had that question about that. Is it legit? I will tell you this: we will know them by their fruits, yes. But I will tell you that the only two people that truly know where his heart is him and Christ. That's it. Now, and I'll tell you a quick story about that. I was served when I was a kid. My family didn't go to church for a while. My dad had always been in church, got away. When I was about, I don't know, 7, 8 years old, 6, 7, 8 years old, somewhere, we started going again, and we went for many, many years. And I got in my adulthood, got married, got a family. My mom and dad divorced. I kind of got away. Long story short, I didn't serve for a number of years. I was never not a believer, because I was already born again, but I wasn't following it. And that's a testimony maybe I'll tell sometime. But what I want to say is this: when I came back to church and I what we would call rededicate your life to Christ, I went to the altar and prayed and have been serving ever since. Years later, years later, there was a young boy in that church. He was a young man. His daddy was a preacher in the church. I know him well. He's a local pastor now. And we were doing these. This is pre podcast here. I was doing a podcast with preachers at my church, and everybody got to preach, and we had a great time. We had such a good time, and we did those at our church. In those days, I put them on at one time cassettes, then later CDs, and then at the end we were linking them up and downloading them through the internet to the radio station. These were going out live over a radio station, recorded live. And anyway, behind the church one night after one of our great meetings or during a break, but I think it was afterwards, he comes to me and he says this. He said, I think I need to apologize to you. He said, you know what? He said, for a long time, I thought you were a fraud. He said, in my mind, he said, because he remembered that day well. He said, when you went to the altar that day, you did not shed a tear. And he said, he said, I didn't think there was any way that a man could go to the altar, rededicate his life after being away and not shed a tear. He said, so I've watched you all these years. This is years later. He was a young boy. This is after become a man. He's a grown man. And he said, what I did is I judged you. And he said, you didn't know that, but he said, I want to apologize anyway and tell you that I was wrong. And you've taught me something, that you got to be careful about when you're deciding who and what and when and where and how they serve. And I have tried to be careful with that. Granted, if somebody's not doing what they need to do, you can call it out. It's not judging. You're just saying, this is not right. What you're saying, what you're doing, whatever. But I don't know what's in somebody's heart. It's usually pretty clear, but you just don't know. And so I will just say in this matter, we can make up our decision about how we think he is or he isn't, and that's fine. That's fair enough, absolutely. But at the end of the day, the only one that really knows uh, is God and Himself, and meaning the president. So I would just, that's where I'm at on that. You don't have to agree with that. I'm just saying that's where I'm at. Um, I've got uh, the biggest challenge around me would be those that I'm in contact with every day and being that example to them and trying to, lead them in a place that would help them in their life and help them to come closer to Christ, to get their things in their life straightened out and to be an inspiration, including my own children and grandchildren. And no, we're not perfect people, far from it, but we do love the Lord. And I do pastor a small church, and I don't look for. I quit. Uh, I I I am who I am. I guess I would say that. And there was a time when I tried to be this perfect, what I felt like was where I was supposed to be and I really let others decide that for me in some ways. And I tried to be all things to all people. Sometimes you get caught up into that. But I will say that where I'm at is that I'm a believer. I'm born again. I firmly believe in the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ, and He is coming back, and you must be born again to go to heaven. There's many things. There's a lot of hills that that are important to me, but I'm not willing to die on. But uh, we don't always preach or anything on the channel, but we are both believers, and we do have those ministry shows, or at least the Sunday morning, and it does come up, and we pray in shows and things like that. So, but also what I will say is like America is a land where you can worship or not worship however you want, and I support that because it's freedom. It's a constitutionally protected. But on the basis of how the country was founded, it is founded upon the precepts and those the words of the Bible. In fact, they still are on the Capitol, and There are many instances of where they are written down and or followed, at least ceremonially, by the government. So it is considered a Christian nation in that regard. Uh, okay, you said I'm against the entire system in the West. It all has to be demolished and rebuilt from zero with a new constitution for the USA. I don't know why it has to be a new constitution. What's wrong with the one we have? I mean, I would be curious of why you say that. Don't get me wrong, founding fathers had a lot correct, but they could not predict modern times. Well, see, I think what you're talking about is you want a living constitution that changes with the times, but that's a problem. See, not a single founding father could imagine the drone AI warfare today, nuclear weapons, global subversion by parasite class. Well, no, they couldn't imagine everything, but the Constitution uh, is a bedrock document. I mean, if you start monkeying with it, changing it around, who's doing the changing? And what are they going to put in there? And whatever they put in there, I mean, you would totally change what the nation is. Do we have problems? Sure. But the problems have come because we haven't followed the Constitution. So what would it matter if we built a new Constitution if they're not going to follow it? I need to bring the book in the studio. I need to finish the book. But I love to read constitutional law and scholars and stuff about the Constitution. I'm not a constitutional expert, but I have read it and I have studied it. But there are many part of that. There's many parts of the Constitution that's not being followed, and you'll hear politicians say that we're going to follow the Constitution. In fact, Kash Patel said that in his after he being sworn in, and I would hope that he abides by that. I believe his intent is to do that. But our whole government has not followed some forms of the Constitution, and to this day it is not followed. We would not be in the debt we are today if the Constitution was truly followed. I'd say that because we go against what it said. The government wouldn't got as big if we were following the Constitution as it was intended to be. Let's see. This is my most important view on God. You have to connect with the moral voice inside you, which is a very little whisper. Well, the Bible we call that God's still small voice, small still voice. But it's fine. Hey, well, all viewpoints are welcome here, and I hope that you find your way through this life, and that you're prepared for the next. And we catch you as a friend to the show and life through the podcast, and we wish you the well. You bring a lot of interesting dialogue, and I like that. Because I wouldn't want somebody just comes on and agrees with me all the time. Because it produces thought and it produces conversation, and that makes us better. Because if nothing else, you learn how to defend your viewpoint, and or you consider another person which direction they're coming from, and how they believe and kind of how they look at their worldview. I don't know, Spartan, if you've ever went and you can find them online, and what is your worldview and what is it driven by? And you probably have a good concept of that. A lot of people don't. It's good to take those. They're usually about 20 to 50 questions, and it will basically at the end tell you what your worldview is. What do you focus on? What do you find is the most important things? Where's your moral compass is? I might say it that way. So yeah. Uh, Well, yeah, I mean, that's why there's been some amendments to something. I'm not talking about, there are some things that we've had to do, and it is allowed for Congress, if they can ever agree on anything, to do that. It requires a lot of them to agree, which they don't usually agree. But but you could say the same thing about the Bible. The Bible doesn't need to be changed, but the Bible covers all areas of life. But certainly, he knew those. God's smart enough to know those things were going to be in our life that we have to deal with. Uh, but yeah, I mean, what happens is we make more and more laws, and that's as we go. Unfortunately, it just gets harder and harder to obey the law because there's so many more laws that come along the way. Uh, and I guess because, listen, I know that the Dr. Frankensteins of the world are going to try to take AI and do bad stuff with it. At the same time, some people are going to do some good things with it. AI. I've used AI for some graphics. So, are there people out there that seek to use all of these things and the others that will come along the way in a bad way? Sure, absolutely they are. And it is incumbent upon us to make sure that those things are, we're protected in, certainly around the world, but I can say for America, and we're protected from outside and from inside with those things. But it is, I've said that we need to be careful with AI. But I'm not one of those people that believes AI is going to take over the world and humans are going to be eradicated by AI. That's not going to happen. And I would use the Bible as my proof of that because I know the end of the story. So does that mean though there's not a danger there? No, I'm not saying that at all. There is a danger. And but it was that danger was there way before AI got here. It just takes it to another level. But I agree with you on that. It is dangerous and it is a threat, as you would say. Um, so I agree with a lot of what you're saying. That's a good quote. I think humanity is making a huge mistake rushing into AI. Israel, Russia, Ukraine are all now using AI for war. We will not be able to control it, or even people will control it. And there is a danger there. I agree with you. I'm not arguing with you a bit. I agree with you. And warfare is taking a turn as we speak because it is becoming more driven by those things. Uh, and I think there's a lot of truth in that. That because they don't have an understanding of just how far it can be taken. Um, but yeah, I understand. I got you. Uh, yeah, but I would just say that in the future, where we look at end time events being the Battle of Armageddon, the 7 years of tribulation, the 3.5 years of Great Tribulation, that definitely is going to be a big part of that. Certainly, absolutely, it'll be a part of it. Some of those things as described in the scriptures, or the imagery is amazing, and I think that's the vision that John was given by God, and some of that was hard for him to really understand. He put in the concepts that made sense to him, and hence we see that imagery. The nuclear warfare seems to possibly be used in a future day as well, in nations coming against Israel in one of the confederated attacks that is led by Russia, or seemingly led by Russia, along with other nations that come about, and that's one of the end time wars when you study that. So it definitely is a danger. Absolutely, absolutely is a danger. I don't disagree with you a bit there, but it's just the long. There'll be other things that come along too. Although I understand it's self-replicating, it learns, learns from its mistakes, never makes the same mistake twice. When we're talking about these, super AI, and it, supposedly could just outsmart any human at some point. It would know exactly what you were going to do to try to stop it. That's where you get the doomsday results, or the threats, or people that say one day the AI will take out humanity because mankind will go so far they won't be able to stop it. So it's fun to talk about, and it may, I get it, I do. I just know that that's not going to happen according to the scriptures. That there's not going to be the total eradication of mankind. So will there be a lot of death because of it? Sure, I'll go that route, but I wouldn't say that it will. It will not. It will not. In the end, it will not win. We'll just say that. It might seem like a victor for a while. It could, but I don't think it will. It will actually. Well, I don't think I know because of that. So good conversations, more. I love it. I love these kinds of things. I wish I have a friend. Well, he was a former supervisor. He's at another company now. He was very much into studying about AI. We used to talk about it in depth, and he was suggesting some books I read and stuff. But we really did talk a lot about it. You know what? And by the way, Spartan, I'll say this. I like this quote. This is why I have so much love for the Amish. They question any technology trying to change their life. We should have been more like them. Well, there's a lot of truth there. There is no self-aware today, but it's possible to build from that view. You can build electrical parts to make it work. Humans are machines. Okay. Well, Russia, due to feeling a fear of being hacked, this was a report that came out over a year ago. maybe 2 years ago, that they had stopped using a lot of electronic, at least among the hierarchy of Russian leadership, that Putin had banned them from using technology, that he went back to paper and pencil. And so they were communicating through, and then those pieces were destroyed. So he didn't want to be emailed. He did not want sensitive data to be put on hard drives or anything like that. They went back to paper and pencil because he felt like that there was spying going on, hacking going on in their systems, and they didn't want people inside the country and outside. After all, they've been under attack for a while themselves internally. The rebellion against Russia is real, and there have been those terroristic events that have happened in Russia. So, but certainly other governments, the people in the West, they didn't want them to get a hold of their communications, and so he had a fear about it, a paranoia or whatever. But yeah, okay, let's put this one up. Well, like software AI could become good, or it could become like a child if you abuse it early for it would learn to hate us. If it was cared for, it could be good. Well, yeah, because we would feed in the environment, uh, those stimuli of what it would. So sure, but and that's with anything. So do you think? Let me ask you this question. I mean, Elon obviously is very involved with AI. He's very involved with robotics, with creating these, being whatever you want to call them. I mean, he's very much on the edge of technology. Do you think that he would be now? He's talked a little bit about this, but from your opinion, do you think he would be for to use it in a good way, or would there could he be swayed, or just that what he produces could be taken and used by others in a bad way? I tend to go the last one, but some people think that his with the Skynet and all that stuff, the Starlink. I know I'm calling it Skynet, but you know what I mean. It's because people make that analogy all the time, because of the Terminator movie. Uh, you know, People look at him as some look at him as good, some look at him as evil, some look at him as a person that's not to be trusted, or is, all over the place. So, uh, okay, I think Elon is evil. I've seen videos of Link torturing monkeys to test those brain implants, which I would not be for that. But yeah, that is that Dr. Frankenstein's laboratory. Those are things I would be concerned about. So just to circle back a little bit, when we very first started this, when we talk about President Trump, I do fear who's in his ear, because if one thing can be said about the president, he is very trusting to his advisors. Now he will make a decision, he will stand on it. But he is very trusting to those advisors around him. I think the first time in his first 4 years, he had some really bad counselors and advisors. He's done a lot better this time. In fact, home runs in a lot of cases. But he does have some danger there. I will say that. It doesn't mean that it would be bad. It just means that it could be. And when we're talking about all the massive changes that we want to make, the the negotiations on the foreign field, a war and negotiations with the superpowers, you got to be careful. You don't want to talk yourself into a corner where you have to go to war. I think he's smart enough to realize that, but he does have to watch those advisors. But I think they're getting rid of, some people, and they're filling the spots with seemingly some people that are really good. I didn't know that, I didn't know he had plans for Elon in this way. That one I didn't know, the Doge and everything, but there's a whole technological thing there when we think about it. And I would just think that you don't think there are any good people around Trump. It's all demonic to me. Republicans, Dems, servants of demons. Many are. There are many, 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 many are. But I do think some of them are good. But that we'll just disagree there. Uh, but it at the end of the day, what we can all say is this: follow the money, follow the money, and if what they've accused others of, because they did it, enriching themselves with the position. Watch the money and make sure they don't do the same thing. Hold them accountable to their very words and the things that we stand on. Absolutely. And watch what they say. Listen to key concepts. Listen to speeches of others around the world. Keep an eye on these contacts and see if there is a system of self-enrichment that could be going on. I get that. I get it. Well, I don't go. I don't. I know you've been pretty hard about the whole nation as far as Mossad and leadership. I get it. But so yes, there's a lot of people talking about that. But we'll see. We'll see. And it's going to take a little time to see how it plays out. Certainly. So interesting. And I don't remember, Spartan. Where do you come from in the world? What area of the world do you live? I mean, you don't have to give your street. Just tell me generally. I think you've shared it before, but I don't remember. Um, but I just wanted to ask. I think you're only good one I can name in office, Representative Thomas Massey. I'm very familiar with Massey and his stand on things, and he's been one of the few that have stood up and resisted some things. You're in the USA from Poland originally. Okay. I couldn't remember if you were inside or outside of the nation. Travel back and forth. Are you familiar with the Polish pastor who lives in, I think he's Polish, lives in Canada and has been attacked for his services there? And in fact, he was locked up. I think he helped the truckers and stuff, and they've given him a hard time. He has a lot of followers. A citizen of both. Okay, well, good. That's an interesting perspective. By the way, since you say that, well, from your perspective concerning Poland, it seems to me the rhetoric out of Poland, and I've not followed it closely, but the rhetoric out of Poland has been that I've read that it seems like they're building their military up, and they've been a little mouthy about Russia, and with them sitting right there on Ukraine's, back door, front door, whatever you want to say. What's your thoughts about that? Is Poland seemingly becoming more militaristic? What's the end game there? And from your perspective, being a citizen and going back into the country and certainly watching some of these things, what's Poland looking for? Is it just to make sure that they're ready to defend themselves, or and I've heard that they spend a lot of money on their military. Is it just for defense, or are they looking for a fight? I guess that's the way I would say it. Are they looking for a fight, or are they just trying to make sure, in case the fight comes, uh, that they're ready for it? Because they have been spending a lot of money amping up their military for their air force and uh, equipping their military, the weapons, everything. Uh, well, and that's been a fear of mine that I think that the previous administration was certainly trying to push Poland against Russia as well as Lithuania. And I was very shocked about some of the things I heard. And I was a concern there because I thought it could lead to certainly a regional war, if not World War III, uh, because of the NATO involvement and everything. Uh, okay, that's the perception I got. I just wanted to make sure I was listening the right way. Um, and I don't understand that. Why would they? I mean, why? What benefit? Other than you could say they're a warmonger. Why would Poland? How could Poland benefit from that? Is this? I don't know. But there's obviously an interest in Ukraine. And Ukraine is a mineral rich area. We've heard about the biolabs. There's other things there. Ukraine is a key here. And oh wow, that's strong. Saying in Poland there are Polish people that hate Russia more than they love Poland. Wow, that's pretty strong. Well, and I understand though, because I mean, you go back through the ages, there is a lot of hate. There's a lot of old, old wounds there. A lot of bitterness that has occurred over the centuries. Uh, There is no benefit, but there is a history of war with Russia. I was actually uh, I've listened to a lot of historical stuff, and I love history, but I haven't studied that as in depth as I'd like to. But going back and looking at some of these things, how all those nations came to be, uh, the wars that occurred, I think that there's a pathway there. I mean, obviously, if Russia was going to march through nations, they're going to come through Ukraine, then they got to go through these others. Ukraine is a touch point, is a key point. The Dnieper River and all that, and if Russia was going to send an army land wise through that region, obviously it goes through Ukraine. It could. They could go other ways, but that certainly is a way they could go. They could go that way. And if they build a beachhead there, the Donbass, and it's theirs, and the negotiation it says it's there, they could build military bases right there, and they have more naval ability there. And there's just a lot that could happen there. So that's something I'm watching right there. Uh, Poland is mostly flatland, very bad for modern tank warfare. Yeah, interesting. What is the population of Poland generally, guys? How many millions are there? Yeah, for modern tank warfare. Uh, how many millions of people live in Poland? And what drives their economy? 38 million. Okay. What drives their economy? What are they known for as a commodity that they sell, that they make money off of? What is that from? Agriculture? Uh, Probably. Oh, yeah, you're right, because a lot of Ukrainians did come into the nation. That was a place of refuge for them. Uh, how do they make their money? Is it agriculture? Is it what do they really lead in? What do they export? I guess I'm trying to say, as a nation, to make money for the nation. I love to learn stuff. You having much more knowledge there than I. So I appreciate you sharing this morning. This is great. It's still the morning. We're almost at midday, but we're not there yet. I've got to get another cup of coffee. Sometimes I do two shows. I think I'm just gonna stay with Southern Fried MAGA and stay in the chat. Uh, but uh, but if you'll hang with me for just a minute, I would love to continue the discussion. If you can, I understand. But let me get another cup of coffee. I'm gonna run a quick commercial. Yeah, I'll put you some thoughts there. If anybody else wants to come in, thank you to those on the Instagram side, others that are there from X and Twitch or whoever. Jake, thank you for bouncing around and promoting. Uh, okay, I think Poland has a healthy mix of exports, including video games such as Witcher. I didn't know that. Okay, interesting. Hey, I'll be right back. Stay with us. Go refill your cup of coffee, or go to the restroom, or whatever you're doing, or but stay with us, and we'll be right back. Hey, this is Dave with the Southern Fried Podcast. Recently, me and Rob were able to go to Fresh Press Farms and do an interview, which we posted on all of our streams. We love these folks. They're amazing. And we are also customers of theirs. I've recently ordered my olive oil that we use in cooking to our home. We love that they're Georgia-based. We love that they're the only olive producer in the state of Georgia. And we love that they're making jobs here for Georgians in South Georgia. We want you to become a part of their family and use their products. They are the makers of homegrown cold-pressed cooking oils. Crafting oil like this means that they capture the best of the olive and the sunflower, because they make that oil too. And they have other products that they have out there. It's an amazing company. They like to say freshness is never a question with Fresh Press Farms. They believe that what we put into our bodies should be minimally processed and actually improve our health and taste like the source. Locally produced and vertically integrated, they proudly grow, harvest, cold press, bottle, and distribute their oils in Georgia to ensure top-notch quality and a quick trip from Grove to Pranchy. Please go online and look up their website and order you some too. Support small business, support Georgia business, and we would appreciate it. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you soon. Hey, this is David the AM with the Southern Fried Podcast. We are now an affiliate of Podbean. Podbean is an audio platform which helps you get your voice out there. You can go online and go live from your very phone that you use. You don't have to have a lot of special equipment. It's nice to have a studio, but it's expensive. You can do those things from your phone. Hey, I was a listener of Podbean before I even became a podcaster. Maybe you've thought about being one. There was a time when I didn't think about being a podcaster, but think about it. You've got things to share. It could be as simple as baking, or it could be working on a car. The stories are endless that you could come up with to be a podcaster. And there are people out there that want to listen and to your stories and to your shows. And we're thankful for all those that watch and listen to us. Podbean is now an affiliate of the Southern Fried Podcast. Unless you're a business plan, that would be the bottom one. The one on top, use that. You'll get discounts, and also the Southern Fried Podcast benefits in this as well. I love Podbean. They also help launch out to many other audio sites. This saves me time. Time is precious. Time to be on the podcast, time for research, time to be with family, and yes, time to work. Yes, we still work out there in the workforce. So become a podcaster. Use Podbean, and when you use these links, one of them, you will save money, and you'll also help the Southern Fried Podcast. Thanks so much for all your support. Take care. We'll see you soon.
And we're back. And we are back. I got my cup of coffee. It's a good coffee day. It's still a little chilly outside, a little cold, but it's warming up. The sun is out. I look out the studio window here and get outside and have fun. We've been having a good discussion with our friend Spartan here, and appreciate the discussion on Poland. I'm trying to learn some things here. All right, we have a new post here from Spartan. Let's read it. Poland is rich in quality coal, but the fake right wing of the left has been shutting down coal mines, which is criminal from my view. Very evil, lying people rule the world. Well, we've seen that here in America too, that they have, shut down a lot of those. They've about killed coal country and places like Kentucky and West Virginia, and some of those schools, those kids have been having to bus 50 miles just to get to school because of those communities are in such a distress now. And so there's been a war against coal. But that I would agree with you. Outside of China and maybe a couple other nations, globalists have certainly been on the attack against people that use electricity, water, burn wood, coal, whatever. They want you to have the 15-minute cities and all that crap. But yeah, but Poland has seemed to me. I don't follow them like some would. Certainly you, but it just seemed to me that there was a change in what they were saying. It was shocking to me. And this goes back to when Russia first went into Ukraine 3 years on now. And a lot of those Ukrainians did flee into Poland. That's one of the nations. But Poland was talking some pretty hard smack, and I was like, why? What are you itching for here? So that's a tinderbox. You've got Poland, Lithuania, Belarus, and they're a nutso puppet for Russia. And I thought, are you just trying? Are you just wanting to get into war? Sometimes there's a drumbeat of war that wants to. People they get almost seduced by the drum beats of war. The rhythmic sounds of war. It's like they say stuff, and then somebody else says something, and then they say it back, and they get inflamed. They inflame the people, and everybody gets a war front. They get in a war. They get war in their heart, and then they go to war, and it's all hell, because war is hell, as I don't care for him, General Sherman said in the South. From the Union perspective, war is hell, and it is, and people die, and it's usually for those that are very wealthy and have an agenda for more wealth, to conquer others. But yeah, it is absolutely scary to think of what could happen in that region if they don't get this settled. I am all for clean technology. You can put filters on coal plants. There's always upgrades you can do to old tech. I totally agree. I'm not for destroying the environment. And I know that in our region that a lot of money has been spent on filters and stuff at even places like foundries and stuff to clean the air up, and to what you put in, because a lot of places use water, and when you use it, you've got to clean that water up before it goes back into the river or whatever you're using it from. So yeah, I would stand with you on that. I understand the fake right wing in Poland, USA, because of me looking at them in both countries. You get a neat perspective there, sure. The current president of Poland has been negative on Russia long before the war. I think the USA Israel tells them to be like that. Possibly, possibly. Um, Hello and afternoon to you, the dialogue box. Thank you for being here. And Spartan tells us that the wife of the president of Poland is Jewish. And okay, I didn't know that. Or maybe I read it somewhere. I'm not sure. But afternoon to all. We're just having a MAGA discussion and talking about, well, the Ukrainian theater and Russia and America and Israel and Poland and, what could happen here. But Spartan, I will agree with you that there are again, I think that's what I've been saying all along, that these people that want to go to war, these people that just live for it for various reasons, uh, they, well, that's a deep and wide question. Obviously, there's been a hatred there. I think it's satanic. But a lot of people to me, they mix what governments do versus the people. But that hatred goes way back. Hatred goes way back. Uh, you know, uh, there's those who do not like Israel at all. They don't believe in Zionism at all. Okay, they don't like what Israel's done with their military and stuff like that. But the hatred goes much further than that. When Israel is not even in the nation, some people just hate Jews. I do not hate Jews. I love the Jewish people. I don't like evil, whatever it's at. I don't like for people to attack and uh, for what they do. But Spartan, you got to be careful there because not everybody is doing that. Again, I'm never going to paint the brush over a whole group of people. That would be like saying that all the people in Russia are evil because of what Russia does. That's not true. So that's right. No, they don't bear the same fruit. So we just disagree. If you do, you do. I'm not going to tell you how to think. I'm just saying that my perspective. I have actually had a ministry to Jewish people, and I love the Jewish people. I don't hide that fact. I love all people, and I have many friends that are Jewish, and their Jewish people are made up of many different types of people, just like Americans are, or whoever. They're made up of a lot of people. So um, I love all people too. Dialogue box. I do. So uh, I I have friends in all cultures, and good people are good people are bad people, and some governments are bad. Yes, maybe most governments are bad, but I don't hate all of them. But yeah, I don't go that. I mean, I wouldn't say that. And the broad again. I call it painting the brush over a group of people. I don't. I never would. Just say all these people are bad. Can't do that. You got to. You do have to take each person individually. In fact, when somebody comes to me and they say, "Hey, you got to watch out for this person over here. They're a bad person." Well, I would consider what they said. But what I always tell people is this: I'm going to find out for myself if this person's bad or not. I don't judge a person if Rob came to me and said, and I love Rob, he's my friend, my brother, and my co-host. But if he came to me and said, this person over here is not a good person, whoever that is, I would say, okay, I appreciate that. Why do you believe that? And then I would go find out for myself uh, because I take each person individually. And here's what happens is I have friends, and those two friends can't stand each other. But I'm friends with this one. I'm friends with this one, and we're all friends together. But they can't stand each other. I just take people, and I've had people to not like me, and you can't make people like you. But I try to treat each person with respect. So let's see. I was brought up to hate the English by our upbringing, and I had to learn that was not the case. The good people like you say, David, are good people. Yeah. People at individual level is a luxury. Jews are fighting a race war. They are very skilled. It's an exception. Well, that so they hate, so you hate too. Uh, yeah, I'm just going to, and again, as a Christian, I'm going to, everybody is redeemable. Everybody, no matter what they've done. So even if they're a bad person, I still pray for them because they can be redeemed. Whether they will be or not, that's another story, but they can be. So, you know, I, I do not hate all of any one people. I don't hate anybody actually. I love all mankind, but, good discussion. But the theater of war over there is driven a lot by the people. Well, listen, war is driven by people who want power and money, and they use the ideology and religion and other things to drive the war. So, uh, uh, you know, whether it's and why the people that prop up terrorists do that for profit in many different ways, and people who prop up other nations, sometimes it's for that. We fought in wars all over the world by proxy a lot of times. We fought, I mean, we have supported nations in Africa with military advisors and, uh, support. We're basically helping them fight the war, and so does Russia, and so does China. And so, but uh, there are evil people in governments around the world. And no, I don't care for Zelensky at all. I don't. No matter what his background is, or any of those that you mentioned, but that doesn't make the whole race bad. So that's just, I'll just say that. We could say the same things about some other backgrounds in America, and they've been bad for America, and they're not that race, but they're bad. They're just bad. They've been bad. So that doesn't make all of that group of people bad either. So. Uh, I mean, we could go back and look at the backgrounds of a lot of people that have been involved, the rich and powerful of America, who have been bad for America, and they're not Jewish. I mean, but I get the connections. I do get, but you go back and it's like when someone when you say all Jewish people are rich, that's not true. Absolutely not true. I don't know why people would believe that. It's ridiculous. I have Jewish friends that are poor as poor can be. Oh, well, they weren't the only ones involved in that part. I mean, they weren't the only ones involved in that. There were other people. There were other people involved as well. Again, people that have power come from different groups, and that's surely has been seen. Uh, well, I mean, certainly they were all different types that were involved, and so were those as well. So, who's to totally blame? The profit was made by many different groups. That's why I say in America, we fought a war over power. It became a race question, but it was fought over control and money and power. And certainly that was an element of it, a big element, but it was so much deeper than that, and it was fought for control, to control others and to control regions. And they use you can't get people to go to fight over your rich man's war. You can make them, but it's not going to be effective. But where the passion comes from is you get them involved in in their heart, and either patriotism or religion or whatever it is. You got to have a cause, and the cause is what causes people to get fired up and support and give towards and continue to want to go to war. So. Uh, and some people are just driven to evil, surely. And there are demonic people. There surely are demonic people out there. Uh, but yes, that's good discussion. So we don't agree on everything, but it's good discussion. And uh, y'all had a good time with that without being evil or mean. But yeah, but it's interesting when you say, you should know them by their fruits. That's true, but there's a lot of people bearing bad fruit. It's not just one people. There's an article. The Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers has eliminated mother and replaced it with inseminated person in state law. You would think this stuff wouldn't be going on still, but it is. This was an article out of the Gateway Pundit, who brings a lot of different kinds of stories. And anyway, it just kills me. Wisconsin's been a battleground for a long time for the education system, abortion rights, different things. But they're still pushing this agenda. In the legislation put forward by this office, Evers crossed out the words man, father, mother, and wife in the statutory language. Evers also changed the terms mother and father to simply parent who gave birth. Words such as husband and wife are also being replaced with person and spouse. He is Democrat Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers. Unbelievable. State Senator Amanda Nedweskis was the first to post about the move on Facebook on Friday afternoon. She wrote in a press release, as a proud mother of two, it is absolutely insulting that the governor in his 2025 27 to 27 budget bill would reduce me and millions of other mothers across Wisconsin to inseminated persons. It is not only deeply offensive, but it is an outright attack on the very essence of motherhood. It is unconscionable that the governor has the audacity to take the most beautiful, life-giving act a woman can perform, bringing children in this world, and turn it into nothing more than gender-neutral, virtue-signaling jargon to appease his far-left base. Even Elon Musk weighed in and said it was messed up. So you got to watch them. They're still going on. It's absolutely true that we're under attack from within inside. And it's appalling. So the battle goes on the state level, and we must continue to battle in our local states for those rights that we hold true, the moral compass of the soul of our nation, and it's driven a lot by the states. And so, yeah, y'all bring us some good points. Absolutely. I like the name of the dialogue box. That really, I like that. Really cool. Very nice. Are you just on Rumble? I know we're friends on Rumble, but are you just on Rumble, or are you somewhere else too? Do you have do you ever go live, or you just go around and post? Like, have you come up sometime? Is this not the root of evil? So good stuff, good stuff. But that was in the news today, or it was actually not just today. That came out yesterday evening, I think. But it started getting some attention today across conservative news sites. So. Oh, so sorry. My screen froze. I was wanted to look at one other article. There we go. Close. Let's see. USAID workers send message to Trump on boxes while leaving office for the last time. It's a story on Fox News out of, this was, let's see here. These people scrawled messages that seemed to be directed at President Trump, who is slashing the agency's workforce. They put on the boxes, "We are abandoning the world," read one message on a box being hauled out by a grinning staffer as she walked out of USAID's Bureau of Humanitarian Affairs office. Another smiling staffer's box had a more upbeat tone, with her reading, you can take the humanitarians out of USAID, but you can't take the humanity out of humanitarians. The staffers were greeted outside by the offices by a small group of well-meaning supporters and former USAID workers who carried signs reading, "We love USAID and thank you for your service, USAID." Other workers were seen leaving the office in tears. Trump administration plans to gut the agency and intends to leave fewer than 300 staffers on the job out of the current 8,000 direct hires and contractors. They, along with an unknown number of 5,000 locally hired international staffers abroad, would run the few life-saving programs that the administration says it intends to keep going for the time being. It has come into particular criticism under the Elon Musk-led Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, for allegedly wasteful spending. Senator Joni Ernst, Republican Iowa, the Senate DOGE caucus chairwoman, recently published a list of projects and programs she said USAID had helped fund over the years, including $20 million to produce a Sesame Street show in Iraq. So it goes on to talk about some other things, but we're seeing some of that. Okay, dialog box, the Rumble user, videos here. Okay. And you do go live. Okay. Well, thanks for popping around and being here. I'll have to check that out. I like to support other programs, and I will do that. And I think I followed you off some comments you made. Appreciate you coming back in. I like to read chats a lot. Sometimes I chat, or sometimes I just read the comments, and I like to follow people and who I like some of the things they've had to say. And so thanks for coming back. You know, some do, some don't. But I like to do that and keep like Killer Carl. He's another channel. He was just in here about an hour ago, talking to him, and I like to follow him and his show. And there's a few out there that I like too. I'm just seeing what's out there. I like to see what people's got to say, and I learn from it. And well, I appreciate that. I try to be. I try to be. I'm okay, Carl. Let me know it. Okay, cool. Well, it was probably in his chat that I saw your comments because I do go there quite often. So, but it could have been in something else. But you've been live with Carl. Okay. I think he's going to have me come up here in the next little bit on a Tuesday. He's invited me up, and we're going to go live with Carl. So okay, it was okay. I like him a lot, and he's awesome dude, as I'll say, and I appreciate his kindness to us. That's the great thing about this community is the absolute help and lift up of that other podcasters do. And we do the same. We try to help people, and we don't try to gain off of them or anything. Yeah, we absolutely we would love to do that. When is your show generally on? And that'll give me an idea of what would be a good time to have you come up. So what days of the week and hours? So we have some set shows, and we have some that we add in. But I'd love to have you on with Robert as well. So he's on in the evenings every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So a Monday or Wednesday evening show. Friday's good too, but we've been doing bringing everybody up on Fridays lately, and just talking about whatever. But I'd love to give you some time, promote your show, and uh, just to get to know each other, and we'll talk about whatever. So we go live at 8 p.m. Monday and Friday. So just delete our video last year. Started a bit more positive, so only got a few bits up. Called okay. All right. Well, I'll go check it out. Okay. But yeah, we'd love to have you come up. Send me an email if you don't mind to that email that's scrolling right now across the bottom of the screen, Southern Fried Podcast at Yahoo, and just put in there the dialogue box or whatever. However, I'll make sure I know it's you, and that way I've got your email. We'll send you an invite. Next show we do together next week, and if it works out for you, if not, we'll do the next show. I'll just send it again, and you come in for as long as you like. And Monday would be great. This coming Monday, I don't think we've got any guests, and that'd be great. Or Wednesday if Monday doesn't work for you, and we would love to have you come. So thank you. Oh, absolutely, our honor. So it's good to have some others that come up. And okay, make sure I grab that real quick, and appreciate that. Da, da, da. And I hope you have a wonderful Saturday. I've got to go work, but it's not a bad thing. It's actually Monday's good. Okay, just take a quick picture of that. I'll save it so I'll be working through my phone the rest of the day, getting some stuff done. As a podcaster, you've always got stuff to do. Load programs, do some stuff. So I have a job that allows me to security on the weekend, and I have an opportunity to send some things. Bless you, and you have a great day as well. And you take care. We're going to be getting off here in a few minutes. I got to go get cleaned up and ready for work. And spend a little bit of time with the family and the barking dog. who is a rescue mix of Chihuahua and I think Beagle or something. Lord, a rescue. Oh, you're welcome. And the dog, the dog doesn't like me, and it doesn't bite me or anything. It barks at me if I'm up, but it wags its tail at the same time. I think what it is, it's very protective of my granddaughter. So it comes out and just lets you know, don't come this way, intruder alert. But if you go her way, she runs under the bed. But has been damaged, and so we've had her for over a year now. And I mean, she's at home, but it's taken a long time for her to warm up to me. So, but she loves my wife and she loves my granddaughters, and she loves women and kids. Doesn't usually bark at them, but all men, we're out. We're evil. But yeah, everybody have a great Saturday out there. Uh, we'll get back together. I'll be releasing some stuff online on all the channels, small to big programs. Most of the Rumble stuff's updated. There's a couple things, but most of the I've got a handful of stuff to load up on Rumble, but I've got a lot of others that we push stuff out to, and I've got to get that done as well as some audio sites. So we'll try to get all those flipped around and get those done. Tomorrow morning we'll be live at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for our Sunday morning in the Word. We've been talking about cults, and we'll probably spend a little bit more time in that Sunday morning. And then I go to church, and then we're actually having a dinner Sunday at church. That's nice. And then Sunday afternoon, I'll probably do another show Sunday afternoon in between church. And Sunday night, we will have news desk. Last couple of weeks have been so much issues going on, but the news desk will air Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we'll get caught up on all the news. And I've got a lot to cover, and so come in and comment, and then back at it on Monday, and we're ready to kick. We finally we've got things up and going again, and been very frustrating on my end, but we seem to be in a good groove right now. And so looking forward. We've got some interviews coming up, and I'm extremely excited about keeping up with Robert Diamond. Dog Tag is his AT trail name. He's going to be updating us every couple, 3 times a week from the trail, and I'm excited about that. In fact, I need to send him a donation today, and I'm going to get him to make a dog tag for Ashley Babbitt and take up the Appalachian Trail. So go ahead and do it. But yeah, have a great time out there. We had a good time last night with the Redneck Star Wars talk. That was fun. We'll do that again. We'll do Star Trek too. You get into people's passions, and that's a lot of fun to talk about. Next week, sometime, we need to have our second 80s music show and talk about. We might do that Wednesday. Wednesday would be a good time to do that. Have our part 2 of the 80s hair band talk discussion, 80s bands, and see if we can get Steve to come up with us from Half Pine Forge and continue that discussion on 80s bands. So that would be fun. The Next Generation was the best Star Trek. That was a great. I watch it all the time. I did love that. I did love that series, but I love all spectrums of Star Trek. But that was great. Worf, Data, Geordi, the whole game. Great. Enjoyed that. They're all getting older, as we all are. Some of those have passed, sadly, some are starting to pass away from that series. That's always hard. It's still amazing that some of them are with us. It's even further back from the original Star Trek. There are still some that are alive, but some of them have died. Sad, but they're in their 80s, I think, that are now still living. Long life, good for them. But they're getting a little age on them. Spartan, was you into the one that came along after that? It was only on for 2 or 3 years or 4 years, whatever it was. It wasn't as long. My favorite episode was one in which every crime on the planet had the death penalty. That was a good one. That was a good one. I enjoyed that one too. And I like shows like that because they do make you think, and that's, it makes you think about where you stand on something, the rights of a citizen, the rights of a nation, the rights of a your visitor. I think those are good things, and it's not real, so you can have fun with it. It's not like real life, so but it does make you think of it. I think it helps us to grow, expand how we think about something, and we do that on here a lot. Sometimes me and Rob don't agree on stuff, which makes for great podcasting. We've had some pretty heated discussions. And sometimes I just drove those. We both have for the sake of the discussion. But there were a few times we got pretty hot. That's all good. We're like passionate people, and we dig our heels in. We're pretty stubborn. Ah. Speaking of Dubby that we advertise with, we're affiliated with, I have it just in my water bottle. This new flavor is killer. It's better than the first one. This is basically it's a grape, but they have a long name. It's a grape flavor, and I am serious when I say it does not give you the jitters, and you don't have the crash. That commercial I do, that's totally true. I don't put out fake stuff, and I love it. I don't drink a whole lot every day because I have to be careful how much you intake of stuff like that. But it is great. I'm gonna take it because I need a little bit of boost this evening. I'm working till midnight, and I don't get into bed till like 1 or 1:30 because I can't just come home and go straight to bed. Then I'm back up for the show on Sunday morning. So it's a good energizer for me. But I don't sit here like this and I'm not falling out. It really does what it says, and I like that. It's no sugar added, so it's a little bit better for me. So, but yeah, I'm going to take some to work with me and stay alert while I'm watching for bad people. Talking about bad people, they come in. They come from everywhere, and there's some bad people. Deep Space Nine or Voyager, I like Voyager, but that was less moral questions and more action. Deep Space Nine was less interesting compared to both. I would go with that. I would go with that. I never got deeply into those, but I did watch a lot of episodes. I probably need to come back and watch. That's been something I've wanted to do. I was thinking of it was just called Enterprise, right? And I think it was just called Enterprise. What's his name was the lead actor? I can't think of it right now. Uh, I did like that. I didn't watch all of them, but I watched some of them. Uh, that's all we were talking last night, though. You're going to keep making money off those platforms because they do make money and people follow them. And the Star Wars will continue to go on, and Star Trek will continue to go on, and they'll do a lot of spin-offs and stuff as they've already done, and they'll keep that going. Uh, so yeah, yeah. Baseball be coming up for those that like baseball. That'll be kicking here before long. You'll have the camps opening up. NASCAR's already got started with Daytona. Uh, what else is the spring's coming? We got some festivals we're going to do. First one up is in April, and about a week later we have two that are about a week apart. I'm trying to figure out. I didn't realize they were just a week apart. We didn't know the dates on one of them, so I'm trying to decide what I want to do. Do I come home for a week, uh, or or I just stay down there and do both? That's a long drive, so haven't decided yet what we're going to do. So we'll see. We will see. But I thought about just taking some time off of work and staying down there and doing both, but I'm not sure about that. But we're going to be doing one up here in October, Greenhouse Festival. That'll be a lot of fun. And I need to have the folks back on the chasing the Bigfoots and stuff. We haven't talked with them in a while. We need to do that. We need to have them on. I'd love to get the dude that's over the Greenhouse Festival come on. He gets all over the place, and I'd like to have him come up, but not been successful so far on that. But I'd love to have him come and talk about the festival and talk about. I'll reach out to him this week. It'd be a lot of fun to have him come up and talk about those things. It'd be great. We'll have to, as we go down the Star Wars and Star Trek road, we'll end up getting more involved in each of those shows and talk about them a little more because I think those are fun. A lot of people like to talk about their time in those series, and we certainly could do that. But the Star Trek Next Generation would be a great one to do that. There was a lot of good shows there. The movies were mostly great. The last one, it was, I don't know, it just didn't go. I didn't like the way it was going. There was some good parts. There's some parts I didn't like. Uh, if they're going to do that again, they're going to come back around with a much better, stronger position. That was showing its age. It just didn't seem to work as much. And I know they're getting older, but there's still a lot of things they can do with that. Bring on some new characters, even. That's what Star Trek does. That's what any of them do. I'd like to see them do that, have another movie, and just have some of those folks be more of the political side of stuff. Maybe they get involved with a rescue or something and have a moral dilemma or something. That would be great. They could find a way to do that, especially with all the topics that are going on in the world right now. You could certainly find a way to do that without a doubt. So there's always something that could be discussed that brings it back into the real world and talk about situations we have in our world that we live in. So I do like I do. The only problem with like Deep Space Nine is you get kind of trapped in an area. Of course, some would say you're trapped on a ship, but they visited worlds, and uh, Voyager had a lot of. There was what I didn't like about that was I don't like the I'm lost and you're meeting other worlds. Um, I don't know. I just to me that model bothered me, but there were some good people involved in the series, and I did like it. I did like it. Well, we're going to jump off, folks. It's been fun to be here this morning. I'm going to go to work here shortly. I got to be at work by 2, and going to go get ready for that. We'll be watching. I think Killer Carl's going to be on tonight. Going to watch some of his program, if not all. Catch up on my friend Half Pine Forge. I've got to see some of their lives that I'm behind on, so I'm going to do that too. So y'all have a great afternoon. Thanks for your support of Southern Fried Podcast. You're chatting or watching or whatever you're doing, and we appreciate the community is growing all the time, and we're appreciative of that. Take care. God bless. We salute you here from the Southern Fried. We'll see you soon.
Well, once again, it's time, my friends, for another meet and greet. We're Southern Fried and nationwide, so hang on to your seat. Look around, here's what I found. I guess you'll never know what you'll see on the Southern Fried Podcast.